Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
All right, guys, let's fire up the machine for hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, we are bracing ourselves for one heck of the end of a month in the world of pro wrestling. Survivor Series, Full Gear, and just so much happening at the moment, and we're going to bring it all to you with all the terrific guests that we have on the show. We had a blast on Thursday night. Of course, if you haven't tuned into the Mark Hoke Show late night show on Thursdays starting at 8:15 p.m. Pacific time, you don't know what you're missing. We're playing games and having all sorts of shenanigans, hijinks, an occasional profanity here and there like we cannot do on this show. So check it out. We would certainly appreciate you joining in the fun there. We just had Phil Stamper and Stu Myrick and Bionic Scoop and Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report on the last episode. Go check that out. And I promise those podcasts and some of the clips will be up in a little bit. It's election week, a lot going on, trying to clean it all up. So please accept the patience from the one-man staff, and we'll get it all squared away for you. And real fast, by the way, if you haven't, if you need to get any embroidery or get your logo on any products, I'd appreciate it. Take a second. Call my good friend at Off Grid Creations. Mike does a fantastic job to do a free brand development consultation for you. 661-300-1115. 661-300-1115. That number again is 661-300-1115. Off-gridcreations.com is the website. He made these spiffy shirts and signs and all sorts of stuff for me. He can do it for you too. So head on over there. And by the way, guess who's in the chat box? Speaking of the devil, this Bionic Scoop, one of the great photographers in the world of pro wrestling. Scoop! What's going on? He's giving me the mark. I give him the scoop. That's how it goes. But let's take a look at what's going to be going on at Full Gear. That card, we started talking about it a little bit as we headed into the break. And just to break this down a little bit more for you, I don't even want to talk about this match. Oh my God. Sometimes celebrity matches are fun. You got a guy like Stephen Amell, who, actually does stunts on his TV shows. Great, incredible athlete, someone who respects the business. And now I'm not saying that Big Boom AJ from the Costco guys doesn't respect the business or anything. I'm sure he's a fan. I've seen him in AEW events. But come on. I don't know one person in the world of pro wrestling that sat there and said, man, gotta have it. Get that Big Boom AJ guy in there. We need more Costco guys. Really? He's taking on QT Marshall. So we know that in all probability, the Big Boomer is going to win. No. Sorry. These kind of things drive me crazy. So there's one you can sleep through at the beginning of the Full Gear. God, I hope it's not on the main card. That better be on the opening show, 0 hour. Oh, bleh. MJF is going to get Adam Cole and or Roderick Strong, depending on if they win these qualifier matches. So, and Bionic Scoop's giving me a little flack. He wrestled for a little bit. I don't care. I don't care. Come on, man. I appreciate it, but bleh. And New Mystic Inferno, by the way, in there said, I didn't ask for this match at all. Doesn't make sense. So, yeah. But MJF, Adam Cole, and or Roderick Strong be facing off. Maybe we'll get all three of them in there. I'm okay with that. MJF, by the way, I don't know if you saw today, but Bubba Ray Dudley called him chubby. I take extra pleasure in that. Thank you very much. I am now a super Bubba Ray Dudley fan. But should be a fun one. Get those guys in there, battle it out. And another high-intensity match on this card. Jay White will be taking on Hangman Adam Page. That's going to be a war, guys. That is going to be a war. I can't wait to see that one. Those guys will pull out all the stops, and it will be very interesting to see the decision on who's going to go over in that match. Jay got him before, but the winner really should be in the World Championship picture, you would think. So who is it? And whoever wins, where does it lead? It's been a great feud. I've enjoyed it. And Hangman's high intensity, and the Switchblade is the man too. I mean, they know what they're doing when it comes to bringing emotion into a match. We'll see how that goes. But and God forbid, what happens to the loser? Oh, geez, maybe they'll end up wrestling the Costco guys. Right now, the Private Party Tag Team title defense, as the Outrunners have already qualified. We got 2 more teams coming in there. We'll see how that goes, but it will be a very interesting decision to see what they do with Private Party in this one. Do you take the belts off them just like that? I don't think you can. But you got a hot team in there already in the Outrunners, who people are just going crazy for. They're one of the top merch sellers in AEW right now. And, I don't necessarily feel like merchandise should be a main concern in terms of who you put over, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Man, they're just ridiculously on fire right now. I don't know. Guys, if you're in chat box, you want to fire an opinion on that, should Private Party lose the belts already after all this time? I don't know if that's fair to those guys, but you know what? Sometimes life isn't fair. We mentioned back when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title and lost it the next day to The Miz, and everybody went crazy. Yeah, that's a little trivia question in our game on Thursday's show. I don't know. Do you jump on the Outrunners momentum while they have it? We'll see. Mercedes Moné gets Chris Statlander. Nice build up on this one. This one's getting rough. I'm looking forward to seeing Chris getting back. Mercedes is certainly the massive superstar on the ladies' side, the most recognizable woman there. But Chris is so good, and she's so much fun. If you go back in our archives, you will see that we did interview Chris, and man, she is just funny. Very stoic, very funny. Got a good kick out of that. Does Chris Statlander go over on Mercedes Moné? Jack Perry, Daniel Garcia. We got a little time to talk about that with Coach Rosey, and he wants Daniel Garcia to win that TNT championship, and I don't blame him. But man, I love what Jack's doing right now. I really do. Maybe drag this one out a little bit, have a controversial finish or something so they can keep going. But I don't know. This is one of the interesting parts about AEW right now is they have some very difficult booking decisions to make, and it's a good problem because they've built so many people up well that you can see a lot of matches going either way. Main event is Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, as Orange Cassidy is the first one to try to step up into the bulldozer and see if he can knock off Mox. Don't think it's going to happen. But, once again, who's the one that would end up eventually taking the belt off Moxley? I don't know. Everybody wants it to be Darby Allin, apparently. I think an Orange Cassidy title reign would be kind of fun, to be honest with you. But I'm good either way. We'll see. But Mox gets Orange Cassidy there. So we're waiting on those tag team matches. And by the way, just so you know, the other qualifying matches, it's FTR House of Black and La Facción Ingobernable and the Acclaimed. So 2 of those teams will be in that 4-way match at Full Gear. But a very intriguing card, guys. Very intriguing card. And there's more to come, obviously, because Tony's not going to give us a 7-match pay-per-view card. It's going to be more like, 13 or 14. So brace yourselves. There's a lot more coming for AEW Full Gear on November 23rd out of the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. We also talked a little bit in that first hour about Malachi Black. What's he going to do? I don't know. As I said, we were talking about it's a tough decision. Tough decision for him which direction to go, if he stays or heads back to WWE. And honestly, I think if he can do the right things with him in AEW, I would personally like to see him to stay, but of course his wife is also in WWE, and that's never fun to be split up like that. So we'll figure out what goes on with Malachi Black. But there was an interesting story that came out, and we didn't really get to talk about it on Thursday night. But I was interested in this one because I had talked about this on the show a couple of months ago when Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes did that promo in Georgia Tech's football stadium, and I thought was just so well produced. And I think it really raised the bar in terms of production levels for everybody. You're not just doing a throwaway promo anymore. If you're going to do something, do it big, do it right. We've seen a lot of new camera angles and things like that have started to emerge on both shows. It has become a more sports style presentation as opposed to the typical 3 or 4 camera shot pro wrestling style. Ever since Kevin Dunn's been out, Lee Fitting has come in and turned things upside down and has made it super cool. And it feels, like you're at a football game or watching a football game or a baseball game and getting all these different angles and, everybody walking into the building and so on. It's really great to see the production level up. And AEW has said starting in 2025, now they just picked up a little bit of money from Time Warner or Warner Bros. Discovery, that AEW is going to be revamping their broadcast and production capabilities since they signed the deal. AEW head of global production, Mike Mansouri, noted that the AEW A&B production units have been revamped following the new deal, with the brand looking for a smoother transition between entertaining the home viewers and those inside the arena, with AEW looking to super serve the latter. So that's pretty cool. A quote from him was, starting in 2025, you'll see more of a sports-style presentation in arena in terms of being able to entertain the audience when there isn't in-ring content or tape content happening as part of the television broadcast. We want to create a nice split between the live event and TV show just to make that experience for those in the house feel a little bit more special. Good call. Very good call. Especially considering the fact that, unfortunately, at their house shows, and TV tapings, I should say, their numbers are down. So trying to do things differently, that's a sign of a pretty smart businessman or a pretty smart person in general. Whenever you're doing something and it's not working, do you keep doing the same thing over and over, or do you try to change it? I'm sure they would like to increase their TV ratings. So making all these moves, very good idea by Tony Khan and their production team. Very good. And I do hope that we continue to see some really cool stuff happening in all the wrestling organizations. TNA has a great production team as well. You don't want to forget them. But you just saw a really cool piece this week with Julia Hart. A dramatic scene where she was doing her cheerleader thing in the middle of a football field, and then all of a sudden her new ego came out and shot her in the heart with an arrow. Really good stuff. Does it cost more money and take more effort than just standing in front of a backdrop? Yeah. Is it worth it to get more people interested in your product? You better believe it is. So I'm excited about this. It's great to hear that. It really is. Let's before we hit a break, let me hit the chat box and let's see what I've got in here. And I think, New Music Inferno was asking about the FSW show last night, and unfortunately I couldn't get there. I was working until late last night. But FSW had a charity show for Chris Bay yesterday, and according to Scoop, it was a great show. Raffle went well, so let's keep supporting Chris Bay. Like I said, unfortunate reports say he hasn't been able to move his lower extremities, so it's going to be a long road back for Chris. But, Chris is a pretty tough guy and a very hard worker, so we hope that Chris Bay is going to be okay at some point down the road. And we do want to wish our good friend, Dashing Chris Bay, all the best. All right, we're going to head to a break. But before we do, I do want to remind you, you can bet on Chris Bay, and you can also bet on pro wrestling. There's a story we're going to have about that when we come back, by the way. But if you go on to my website, markhokeshow.com, and click on the Bet Online AG banners, you can't miss them on the front page and the sponsor page. You can actually bet on pro wrestling. Plus, you can bet on so many other sports. I've got a whole list here, guys. Boxing, football, darts. You can bet on entertainment, financials, rugby, snooker. You can bet on snooker. How cool is that? And the really cool part is that I'm going to give you a unbelievable first deposit bonus. If you click on our link and then put in the code BOL1000, you can get a 50% matching bonus up to $1,000 on your first deposit. I am giving you $500. You're welcome. So go on the markhokeshow.com and click on the betonline.ag banners that are on the site. Get over there and make your first deposit. Like I said, it's 50% up to $1,000 with BOL 1000. And it's a fun site. You really enjoy it. You can play poker on there too. So lots of great stuff going on at betonline.ag. All right, we're going to step back, take a break, and when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the new women's U.S. title, but we've also got some interesting stories about Goldberg. We've got WWE making a decision about sports betting. A lot of neat stuff, so stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Looking for high-quality custom screen printing in Las Vegas? Look no further than Off Grid Creations. Need a few custom t-shirts for a local event, band merchandise, or family reunion? We've got you covered. Large order of uniforms for your staff, sports team, or club? We can handle that too. Our experienced team will work closely with you throughout the entire process from design consultation to final product. Call us at 661-300-1115. That's 661-300-1115. Or visit our website at off-gridcreations.com. Get a free consultation today.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, hour number 2 rolls on to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. Also on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download that baby right now. Get it on your phones, get it on your computers, and just listen away. You're going to not believe how many terrific shows from our station, like the two that I produce, the Steve Sanchez Show and Sports X Radio, and so many others from not just our station, but around the world. Great app, AUDACY. Get that right now. Also, of course, streaming on YouTube, X, and Facebook. You can subscribe to us, which would be great on YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. Facebook is The Mark Hoke Show. Give us a like, follow there. And, of course, on X is at Mark Hoke Show. Yeah, a lot of fun. Last week, by the way, Bill Goldberg. That's right, Goldberg. It's fun to do that in the arena, by the way, if you get a chance. Looks like there's not going to be many left because he has announced that he is going to be formally retiring in 2025. So at some point next year, we say goodbye to Gil Goldberg. Yeah, Bill Goldberg. But the speculation is, who's the last match? Who is the final opponent for Bill Goldberg? It goes from who's next to who's last. Speculation is, of course, that it would be Gunther, who insulted Goldberg's family I have a different idea. I don't see a Goldberg-Gunther match going that well. It could be all right. Gunther could carry him, and I hate to say it about Goldberg. But I have a better thought. I want to dip into wrestling history. I want to see some people who may have messed with Goldberg a little bit in the past make a little return. And that return would be through the son, the prodigal son. That's right. Braun Breaker. That is the match that I would like to see wrap up Goldberg. Of course, son and nephew of the Steiner brothers. And they tangled quite a bit back in the day. I think that would be an amazing final match for Goldberg to kind of take his career full circle from the WCW days until now. Like I said, people are saying Gunther. I don't want it. I mean, I would like to see the match, but could I see a scenario where maybe Braun Breaker costs Goldberg the match and then you get a showdown between two monstrous beasts, the older elder statesman against the young dog? I mean, man, that would be terrific. So that's my vote for Goldberg's last match. I don't know what you guys think about it out there, but I just don't see a Goldberg-Gunther match as a fitting ending to his career. But we will be saying goodbye to Bill Goldberg as an active competitor in professional wrestling here at some point in 2025. Let's see what happens. We've also got a story right now coming out of WWE that they were in negotiations to make sports betting, or have sports betting sites be able, in the United States anyway, be able to put WWE matches up on their sites. Apparently that is now dead. 18 months of negotiations went on between TKO and President Mark Shapiro was on CNBC and said WWE won't be entering the sports betting market. Now, you may be saying, is betting on wrestling really that smart? I mean, people know what's going to happen. It's succeeded around the world, as you've heard on one of our sponsors, BetOnline.ag takes bets. They're not taking a ton of money. It's not like you can bet $100,000 on these matches or anything like that. Now, it's small bets, but they have decided they're not going to do it. He said, it's not happening. We're scripted. We're not going to ask Paul Levesque to keep his scripts so under wraps so we can start sports betting. It just doesn't jive. We'll do it with UFC. We are doing it with UFC, and it's really growing and really lends itself to sports betting. But so they were talking to regulators in Colorado and Michigan to legalize betting on WWE matches. The concern that is out there is it would have had really changed how WWE feuds and matches are booked, as results would need to be locked in months ahead of time. Wrestlers also wouldn't be allowed to know if they were winning or losing until shortly before the match took place. That would be kind of tricky. Just a little bit. But I don't have a big problem with it, and obviously I don't, because I have a little affiliate with BetOnline.ag, because it's fun. It's as long as you're not throwing down tens of thousands of dollars on it. You kind of know what you're getting into on there. And there's been times where, a lot of times they're pretty right on their predictions, but sometimes they miss. And, chances for you to take advantage of it. But I don't blame WWE for not formally getting involved in it. And the one issue I think with legalization is, what kind of betting limits would all these sites be putting on it? I mean, that's one thing, you are allowed to cap the bets. And I can't imagine that even if they had decided to do it, that you'd be able to bet more than maybe $100 on a match. Just there would be a lot of potential for some issues to come up. No doubt about it. If leaks got out or anything along those lines, it could be somewhat disastrous. So, betonline.ag keeps it fun, but it doesn't go too far over the line or anything like that. So no betting in the United States anyway on professional wrestling. Sorry, guys. All you degens out there in Las Vegas. Not going to happen. All right. There was also another story that hit last week that I did want to make sure to mention, and this is just horrendous, that a man was scammed for nearly $1 million by someone who is pretending to be Alexa Bliss. Did you guys hear about this one? Unreal. So there was a gentleman, it was reported by the New York Times, gentleman named Alfred Mancinelli, who this person conned almost $1 million out of. Before he died at age 79, Mancinelli had drained his bank account, savings, and his grandfather's college fund to the impersonator. And get this. This person said that they claimed to be hospitalized for bad menstrual periods and would plead with Alfred to send money so the hospital could begin treating her. And would say things like, "Tell me how much do you have left, baby," was one thing. And apparently their son tried to stop it, and the courts wouldn't let him. The son tried to stop father's spending by taking his money, but after being sued, Mancinelli took the money back, and it was lost to the scammers again. What a terrible thing to do, man. Wow. There's some bad people out there. But, guys, just a little tip. Unless you know that you're seeing like a blue check mark on X or something along those lines, don't fall for any of these secondary accounts or anything like that. It's just not a good thing. Not a good thing. You'll know if a wrestler's taking time to talk to you, but just look for the authentication symbols on all the social media before you fall into that trap. But what a terrible thing to do. Scumbag, man. Unbelievable. People pulling stuff like that. So, yeah, hate to hit bad news, but it is a good warning sign for everybody to watch what you're doing out there. Someone who didn't watch what he was doing out there, unfortunately, was Jake Hager. Oh my gosh. Jake, what were you thinking? Had some, around election time, decided to fire out some tweets that were not good. And as a matter of fact, Jake Hager was talking about abortion rights, and he said Tony Khan was a communist. Here are the quotes, and please don't let this reflect on everybody that voted Trump. I don't know if Jake was drinking or what he was doing, but he said, "Yes, I support Trump. Yes, I'm against killing babies. I guess that makes me a racist." In one of his posts, he said, "Do you want proof at Tony Khan is a communist?" and threatened me to be silent or else. Well, it cost him a booking. So an independent company, Blitzkrieg Pro, said we're not working with him, and we're gonna get a replacement. But man, that is just. And by the way, New Music Inferno in the chat box, talking about the Alexa Bliss scam, said it's so freaking insane that people do that. Definitely scummy as all hell. Yeah, guys, if it sounds too good to be true, don't do it. And just to backtrack on that a little bit. Just remember, if somebody out of the blue is asking you for money, or is asking one of your relatives for money, because a lot of times they'll do this to more elderly people. If someone asks you for money online, don't do it. Just don't do it. You got to think about the logic behind that too. Why would Alexa Bliss ask you for money? Really? Come on. It is a shame, but yeah, very good point there by New Music Inferno in our chat box. But yeah, so Jake Hager getting himself in a little bit of trouble. I'm sure calling Tony a communist is not going to sit well in the main office either. But AEW does have some cool stuff going on right now. Bobby Lashley, man, that thing is taking off, and now we got a match with Lashley and Swerve Strickland. I would have liked to see him hold off on that a little bit. But I don't know if you saw that the debut of Lashley is one of their most viewed clips in the last few years. people are excited about this. You know, the Hurt Syndicate is in business in AEW after their group had been ridiculously split up in WWE. And once again, it's going to be, you know, Swerve and Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. And MVP is going around trying to recruit every black wrestler he can find. And I don't know how that's going to turn out, but it'll be fun to see maybe who hops ship. Somebody's going to hop ship. But, yeah, that's going to be terrific. It looks like Bobby Lashley is catching on. And I really do feel like WWE at the end completely misused Bobby Lashley. I mean, I was still mad when he got that concussion and they took the belt off him and they after the Elimination Chamber match. And just never got him really back in gear. Very talented guy, and you put MVP with him, a guy who is just a terrific mouthpiece. It's a recipe for success. And AEW's got to be thrilled that they've got them in there. You know, and it's another great African American group of guys, you know, great role models for that community. And, you know, I have a feeling there's going to be some pretty good things coming out of AEW with Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin has looked terrific. Like I said, don't know who's else is gonna be in there, but let's see what we got. Bionic Scoop in the chat saying Leo Rush looks like a possibility. He cut a Man of the Hour promo. Yes, he did. I wouldn't mind Leo Rush in there. I think that's a pretty good fit. Well, as long as he doesn't decide to retire again, we're all good. But yeah, I could see him part of the Hurt Syndicate. It'd be fun to get one of the Acclaimed guys, you know, if you split the tag team up. I don't know which one it would be, though. But I wouldn't mind seeing one of them end up in there. But we'll just hang on. We'll see how this goes. But the Swerve Strickland Bobby Lashley match at Full Gear coming up, man, that's going to be off the hook. I can't wait for that. I may be more excited about that than I am the main event. But we'll keep a check on that and, you know, see how the Hurt Syndicate continues to roll through AEW. Nick Wayne was a bad boy, by the way, too. Poor AR Fox. I don't think AR Fox is going to be joining the Hurt Syndicate anytime soon, as they, of course, Nick Wayne is part of the patriarchy under Christian Cage, calls him his dad. Christian likes to bring wrestlers' fathers into this, and Nick Wayne stapled a picture of AR Fox's father onto his forehead after a match. Of course, we had all this stapling going on between Swerve and Hangman, and now apparently Nick Wayne has decided to be pretty good with a stapler, too. But AR Fox gets stapled by Nick Wayne with a picture of his father. Late father, by the way. Ouch. I just don't like taking a staple to the head, period. It just doesn't sound like a lot of fun. But that would be insulting. Just a tad. Maybe we're going to get a feud with AR Fox and Nick Wayne. I don't know, but we'll see. We're going to step back and take a break. Before we do, just want to remind everybody that our good friends over at the Travel Shark are going to help you out with your hotel room rates. You have WrestleMania coming up, and plus so many other events that you travel to, or just for work, or maybe you're going on a vacation. If you guys go to thetravelshark.com/Hoke Show, big key there, and we've also got the link on our website, thetravelshark.com/Hoke Show, you will get the guaranteed best lowest rates you're going to get on hotel rooms. It's powered by Priceline. You know where you get those mystery rooms where you don't know what hotel you're going to? It's the employee pricing. That's the price you get at thetravelshark.com. And there's no mystery to it. If you go over and just sign up real quick, it'll take you a minute to put your information in. You'll be able to see all these unbelievable deals. You know, we were doing some comparisons between Expedia and the Travel Shark, and rooms were at minimum for a 4-day package around WrestleMania time, like $400 off. I mean, terrific deals. So please check it out at thetravelshark.com/Hoke Show. That way I get paid. You make me happy. All right, so head on over there right now, thetravelshark.com/Hoke Show. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to wrap this up. Randy Orton got pile drived, which was cool. Can't complain about that. And a little bit more news for you as we wrap up hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show. Stick around, everybody. We will be right back here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, The Talk of Las Vegas.
.101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, let's roll the dice one more time here on The Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment as we close out Sunday's show. Don't forget, again, we're doing that Thursday edition, the Mark Hoke Show late night, 8:15 Pacific. So please join us for that fun show. Do a little bit of news and a whole lot of fun. We're playing some different games on there. I've got something fun for everybody this week. So should be a nice trip down memory lane in pro wrestling. And excuse me. But it's going to be a terrific time. So please check it out on our YouTube channel. And of course, it'll be also available on X and Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show late night. Join us, please. All right. And, of course, we talked a little bit about this in the first hour, but I did want to bring it up again. We have a new championship in WWE as the women's side is introducing the United States Championship. That's right. The ladies are getting a secondary belt on the main roster. NXT already introduced the North American title. And, I'd asked Shawn Michaels about that when I interviewed him. He's like, I don't know. He knew. Come on. He knew. But it is exciting for WWE to have a secondary championship for the ladies. Like I said, I would have wished it had been the Intercontinental title instead of the U.S. title. Nothing against the U.S. title, but the connection between the IC belt and so many people, you have a lot of second generation ladies in WWE. Now, I did see someone else online had put up a picture and suggested Charlotte Flair. And of course, Ric Flair was a multiple time U.S. champion back in the day. So there's a link there. I get that. Chelsea Green, a very popular choice at this point amongst the fans. I am in Natalia's corner. I would love to see Natty be the one to get that. I think she would be a terrific person to lead the way. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, it is such a deep roster for the women. And you start going down through the list of some possibilities that I would look at and say, yeah, that would be a person that might win the U.S. title. Let's see, like Io Sky would be up there. Lives the champ already. Natty. How about Nikki Cross? Imagine the Wyatt Six getting the first U.S. Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler, Scarlett, put her in the tournament. Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark. And you head over to the SmackDown gang. Let's see, Bayley. Bayley would be an interesting choice. Maybe either Bianca or Jade Cargill. That wouldn't be bad. And, of course, you have Chelsea. Maybe a Piper Niven. Maybe a Tiffany Stratton, even though she's got that case. A lot of interesting candidates to win that U.S. title. I'll be excited to see who ends up in the tournament. But I'm looking forward to the ladies getting more of a spotlight than they already have. And, and I think Jade and Bianca have done overall a pretty good job with the women's tag team titles. So I think it's going to be a great future for WWE with the women. And I hope someday that there is a women's Intercontinental title. I think that would be amazing. But that's where that is going right now. So we'll see how all that turns out with a new U.S. champion being crowned. And, of course, in WWE, the bloodline reigns again, guys. And just, I'll save that comment. There's an interesting comment in the chat box. But we have a new bloodline battle coming up at Survivor Series, where we're going to see the original bloodline taking on, and Sami Zayn is in that group, taking on Solo Sikoa's group. But there was an interesting signing that just came out. Of course, Hikuleo, member of that NOI dynasty, is already in WWE, and now they reported that Lance NOI is now in there. Of course, he was in MLW, multi-time tag team champion, as he's the son of Samu from the Samoan SWAT team, and of course was part of the new iteration of the SST. But he's been out there. I mean, the Pro Wrestling Noah, is very well known for stuff he did there, and taking on guys in Japan and so on. So we'll see who ends up with the bloodline. But the question to me once again is, are we dragging this out too much? And then Jesse Hyde in the chat box, just for fun, everyone is thinking where's Shane O'Mac because he's supposed to be in AEW with this whole Death Rider story. And we think he can come back to WWE to confront The Rock. What? Why would he do that? I mean, I suppose it's a possibility. But I don't know. It's just the McMahon name has just become to a point. When you associate with WWE, it's just, Could it happen? Yeah, could. I don't know about confronting The Rock, though. What would his beef be? Why would Shane want to beat up The Rock? But you know what? Crazier things have happened in pro wrestling, and I always love when Jesse Hyde throws stuff in there out of the chat box. We'll see if Shane ever shows up. And it's funny. But when you do bring that up, with Shane McMahon having been seen with Tony Khan, I almost wonder if they're really trying to drag out a possible Shane appearance, just because it became so obvious to a point that something was going on. So I think they're trying to make you forget about him a little bit and say, the Shane McMahon thing. Come on. Nah. No, they're just friends. He and the Young Bucks just happen to be on the same plane. It happens. Don't worry about it. Shane's busy. He's doing other stuff. And then he shows up just when you think that he's not going to show. So we'll find out what happens with Shane McMahon. I don't know. I was pretty big on Shane showing up, and now all of a sudden I'm just kind of like, well, when it happens, it happens. But gosh, that would be crazy. And of course, Vince starting that entertainment company, because the man just can't stop. Wants to start a movie company. And of course, dealing with all his legal issues too. So I don't know. The McMahon family, maybe just best for everybody to kick back and relax and enjoy their lives a little bit. Occasionally make a fun TV appearance and just go from there. But who knows? Another group that is taking a hiatus, by the way, I don't think, because we didn't get to really talk about this on the last show. Young Bucks are taking a little time off. They got a little boo-boo, but they're pulling them off TV to try and give these guys a little bit of time to, let the fans miss them a little, I suppose. But they were written off TV after what happened at Private Party and losing the titles. But Nick has got a separated shoulder, and he's been working with that. So they're trying to maybe get healed up a little bit. But the talk is that they are trying to position the Young Bucks to be the savior of AEW and the Elite. And I don't know if the fans are going to go for that or not. Of course, if you don't know, they are the EVPs of the company, along with Kenny Omega, legitimately. So having them come in and save the company is interesting, but the only problem that I have is when you kind of look at what happened earlier, they just did a spike pile driver to the chief operating officer of AEW, Tony Khan, a little while ago around the time of the NFL draft. So I don't know what they're saving. Well, they already wanted to whack Tony Khan and take over. So, what's the deal? So a little story continuity issue there. But I'm not sure about the Young Bucks being in that role. Maybe good for them. Because, like I said, they do think that the act is getting a little stale with the EVP thing. So, bringing them back in that spot, could work. The Bucks are certainly talented enough to pull it off, so we'll see how that goes. All right, and we're getting ready to wrap this thing up, by the way. But I do want to remind everybody about a few things on the show. Once again, please hit the TravelShark.com/Hoke Show for those hotel deals. BetOnline.ag. Go on our website, click on that banner to get that terrific bonus code BOL1000 for the up to 50% matching bonus. And, of course, our good friends at OffGridCreations.com. They'll hook you up with shirts, pens, signs, anything you need your logo on. They'll definitely take care of you, so check them out at off-gridcreations.com. And don't forget to check out the Mark Hoke Show late night on Thursday nights, 8:15 p.m. Internet exclusive, so head on to our YouTube, X, and Facebook channels to be a part of that. And we'd certainly appreciate all those subscriptions and follows. Of course, you can follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. MarkHokeShow.com is the website, and so much more. Please check it out and support our sponsors. Always helps the show out a lot. So if you would do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Guys, thanks for being with us on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We will see you next week here. Thanks for joining us and taking a little bit of time out of your Sunday morning to be a part of our show. We always appreciate it. Have a great day, Las Vegas.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit MarkHokeShow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.